What if I told you he did all this not with bombs or high-tech weapons, not in some distant ancient past, but right in our modern era, using, of all things, farming tools?
2 million people gone, murdered in the span of just 4 years. And here's the thing that's so hard to wrap your head around. The man responsible for all this, he wasn't some unthinking monster. No, he was an educated man, an intellectual.
This single detail, this chilling, specific quote from a survivor, that's the key. It's the key to understanding everything we're about to explore. Welcome to Year Zero. So, you have to ask, right? How does a student turn into a mass murderer? Well, the journey doesn't start where you might think. Not in the jungles of Cambodia. It starts in the cafes and classrooms of Paris. So picture this, it's 1949. A young Cambodian man named Salith Sar gets a scholarship and arrives in Paris. He's supposed to be studying radio electronics, but it doesn't go well. He fails his exams, not once, but 3 times, and he loses that scholarship. So his formal academic career is over. But his real education, the one that would change history, that was just getting started. He starts diving into these radical communist texts, gets completely obsessed with the idea of revolution, and this single terrifying thought takes root in his mind. What if you could just wipe the slate clean? Just erase everything and start society all over again from scratch. And the irony here is just, it's brutal. Back in Paris, his own girlfriend, a woman named Q Ponnery, was a true pioneer. She was actually the first Cambodian woman to ever get a bachelor's degree. An incredible achievement, right? Well, fast forward a few years, and under his new regime, that very diploma, that symbol of education, would have been an automatic death sentence. After Paris, for about 13 years, Salith Sar just disappears. He goes into the jungles of Cambodia. He takes on a new name, a name that would become infamous, Pol Pot. To his followers, he's simply Brother Number One, this mysterious, ghost-like figure leading a peasant army. And all that time, his idea is growing. And then finally, it's time to make it reality. April 17th, 1975, the Khmer Rouge, his soldiers, march into the capital, Phnom Penh. And at first, people are celebrating in the streets. They think the long civil war is finally over. But that celebration didn't last long. Within just 3 hours, the entire city is being emptied at gunpoint. The soldiers tell everyone the same lie. The Americans are about to bomb the city. You have to leave for 3 days for your safety. Just 3 days. But those 3 days, they turned into 4 long years of absolute hell. This was day 1 of Year Zero, and they meant it literally. History was erased. Money, gone. Religion, banned. Owning anything, not anymore. Schools, hospitals, all shut down. They even declared the family unit, love itself, to be counter-revolutionary. Think about that. The entire foundation of a society just dismantled in a single day. And the new rules were absolute. And the punishment was swift and brutal. You just have to listen to this testimony from a survivor to understand the terrifying absurdity of it all. They killed his brother for using a French word. He said bicycle instead of the proper Khmer word. And for that, they beat him to death with hose. For a word. You see, this wasn't just a war on people, it was a war against the mind itself. The logic was simple, and it was horrifying. If you wore glasses, it meant you probably knew how to read. If you could read, you were educated. And education, that was the #1 enemy of Year Zero. So the nation was systematically, lobotomized. They went after the teachers, the doctors, the monks, anyone with knowledge, and targeted them for complete and total elimination. So the cities are empty. The entire population is now forced into the countryside, marched out to create this twisted version of a peasant utopia. This was the laboratory for Pol Pot's grand experiment. The official plan? It sounded ambitious. They were going to triple the country's rice production, using nothing but manual labor. But really, this impossible goal was just an excuse for slave labor. You had people from the cities, doctors, lawyers, shopkeepers who'd never seen a rice paddy, being forced to work from 3 in the morning until 11 at night. And their only fuel? 2 small bowls of watery soup a day. The rules in these fields were designed for one thing: to break the human spirit. Couldn't meet your impossible work quota? That's sabotage. Penalty? Death.
dared to complain about being hungry? That's treason. Penalty? Death. Even crying for a loved one who had been killed, that was considered a weakness. And the penalty was death.
20,000. That's how many mass grave sites have been found across Cambodia so far. The regime was too poor, too ideologically frugal to waste bullets on its own people. So instead, they used bamboo sticks, hose, even the sharpened edges of palm fronds. You know, an ideology this extreme, this paranoid, it needs an enemy to survive. It feeds on it. So what happens when all the old enemies, the intellectuals, the city dwellers, are gone? Well, the revolution starts to look inward. It starts to eat itself. At the very heart of this paranoia was a place called Tuol Sleng, or S21. It used to be a high school, a place of learning. They turned it into their main interrogation and torture center. And this is where they brought their own people, loyal Khmer Rouge members, to be tortured until they confessed to crimes they never committed. Get this, of the 14,000 people imprisoned there, only seven are known to have survived. And the confessions they forced out of people, they're just insane. They show you how deep the paranoia ran. They'd torture their most loyal followers until they'd admit to the most impossible things. I mean, listen to this actual confession. I am a CIA agent working with the KGB and the Vietnamese to destroy the revolution using mind powers. It would be laughable if it wasn't so horrific. So the Khmer Rouge were finally overthrown in 1979, ending the 4 years of terror. But the story doesn't just end there, right? It can't, because we have to understand the pattern here. We have to look at how this happened. Because the scary truth is, it's not a pattern that's unique to Cambodia. The path to this kind of hell, it's almost always paved with promises that sound good. Think about it. Step 1, promise to get rid of corruption and punish the elites. Sounds great, right? Step 2, vow to kick out all foreign influence. Step 3, call for a return to so-called traditional values, a purer past. And then, the final step, purify society of its enemies from within. You see how it works. Each step doesn't sound so crazy as long as you've already accepted the one before it. And Pol Pot, the man who designed this entire nightmare, he never faced a trial. He died peacefully in his sleep in 1997. And in one of his last interviews, he was asked if he had regrets. His response? "My conscience is clear. Everything I did for the nation." He believed, right up to the very end, that he was a hero.
The final price tag for his big idea is just, it's almost impossible to comprehend. 1 out of every 4 Cambodians killed. 50% of all Vietnamese Cambodians killed. 36% of all Chinese Cambodians killed. And in some parts of the country, the Muslim Cham people were targeted so relentlessly that the extermination rate was 100%. That was the price of starting over.
And that brings us to the most terrifying part of this whole story. It isn't just that he was a monster. The really scary part is that he was a teacher. He was an educated man who thought he was building a paradise. He believed so deeply in his utopia that he was willing to kill millions of his own people to make it happen. You know, evil doesn't show up with horns and a pitchfork. It doesn't announce itself. It shows up with a promise to fix everything, to end corruption, to bring back a pure past. And all it asks for in return is your total, unquestioning belief.